Hi, Uprisers. It is Tricia LaCroix with Sacred Uprising Institute and Conference. And today we have Laurie Green. Here we go. We have Laurie Green she's going to be talking about becoming a beacon. So I'm excited to share that with you and for you to hear what she has to say. But I have a few announcements first. We have a conference coming up September 18th, 19th, and 20th at Mount Madonna. It is in Watsonville, California. It's up in the mountains just outside of Santa Cruz. And this past weekend, went to go see it. It's beautiful. It's very rustic. It has a beautiful temple, has a bookstore. In fact, hold on, Laurie is trying to get on here. What they had offered is that we can even sell books that are relevant to what we're going to be talking about. And what we will be talking about, hey, Laurie.
Hi, Tricia.
Hi. It's much easier getting on now.
That actually was much, I'm surprised. That was much easier,
yeah.
Actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just telling everybody about Mount Madonna. So it's a meditation. It's a meditation place, and it's beautiful. It's rustic. They have, like I just said, they have a temple there. They have a bookstore where they actually said to me, okay, if there are books that are relevant to what you're going to be teaching, hey, Annette, we'll sell the books here. They have everything's vegetarian. There are hikes that you can do. There's a lake there. There is the conference. We have the main conference center, and there's cabins, and there's also dormitory rooms. And so it's going to be great for our first conference. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to get people on board. So you can go to our website, and you can take advantage of the early bird special. So and we can. As you close up shop, great, Krista. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hi, everybody.
So people can take advantage of the early bird special. It's about 40 minutes from Santa Cruz up in the mountains. And so there's a beach there, there's a boardwalk. If people want to stay through the weekend, they can have an amazing time. In fact, they even stated if people just want to stay there past the conference, people can do that as well, and then take advantage of being in Northern California. So don't miss out. We will, it is about an hour south of San Jose, and we will have a company that will be to bring people from the airport over to Mount Madonna. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible for everyone.
Oh, so, sounds fantastic. I am so excited about going.
I know.
I'm so excited about being there. I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Brittany. I love you. Hi, Ranjit. I see you out there. Daisy. Oh, my God. I love you. It's been so long since I've talked to you. Krista, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here and just honored for anybody to be here. So thank you so much. And definitely looking forward to this conference myself. This place is so beautiful and so and peaceful. Just looking at it, I can see how peaceful it is. So
it's very peaceful, and our focus for the conference is infinite love. It is 0 point energy. It is calling in the one within. It's calling God within. Having it, God, you are God. Having a human experience is about tapping into that, activating your light body, activating your Merkaba. It is about being this powerful force here on earth, here to have miracles and to live in an abundant life. And that is what this conference is about. And I'm so excited to radically change people's lives. So
that is so beautiful, Tricia, for so many reasons. Hi, Antoinette. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Paula. Hi, Annette. That's beautiful because it's a great transition for what I'm talking about today. And it's the whole point that we are here. It's the whole, for some of us, we know that we've come here specifically to be that infinite divine love that impacts our lives, the lives of those closest to us, and on a global scale, to understand and know that it is God in us, it is the divine in us, it is the primordial being that resides within us, that it's not outside of us, but it is that we are walking it out because we understand that it is who and what we are intrinsically. And that is that infinite love. That is that infinite universal divine love. So that is so perfect because this is the season. This is the age. That is the age that we are now in, is this age of understanding and coming to know the trueness, the wholeness, and the fullness of who and what we really, really are. And that has been my work specifically. Live Inspired is about that. It's about living a life that is inspired, that comes from the inspiration that comes from within, which is living in spirit. It is living as a spiritual being, having a human experience and understanding that that is what we are doing. And as we do that, that is how we become the beacon. And I said to you before this that I really probably should have titled this Revealing the Beacon Within versus Becoming the Beacon, because that is already what we are. We just have to remember, and we want to remove those things that prevent us from seeing or understanding or being able to walk in this reality of our being this beacon to the world, to those that we love and to the world. And so how does that process manifest? I want to say that for everyone who's watching right now and everyone who is drawn to a sacred uprising, there is a reason. There is a reason that you were drawn to it. It is not by chance that you click on a live. You know, you could easily ignore it and move on. Many people do. But if there's something in you that is triggering that, it is because somewhere in you, whether it's conscious or subconscious, there is something in you that is intrinsically aware that you are here to have an impact on the lives of the people on this planet. And so as we move through the process, because it is a process, the way that that begins to occur is by, first of all, listening to that trigger, that whatever it is, like if it comes into your mind as a curiosity, then we want to be sure that we are listening to that and we respond to that curiosity, that we respond. If there's a book that we're drawn to, if there's a person or a TV show, a teacher that we're drawn to, that we go deeper into that, because ultimately it's not about the teacher, it's not about the book. You know, it's not about the church, it's not about the temple or wherever we're drawn. It's not about any of that. It is about what it is activating within us. It is about what it is activating within us, because we have entered a time where we understand that we are the temple. We are the teacher of our own divinity, of our own path and where we're going. We've entered a time where we are beginning to get that reality at a much, much deeper level. That's why I love this platform of Sacred Uprising, because everybody on this platform likes to reiterate and reinforce that you know what, we are here to facilitate and assist that process, as long as you understand that it is in you. It's not outside of you. Now, I'm cautious when I say that because it's omnipresent. So it is outside of you. But if you understand that it's omnipresent, then you understand that it must be within you as well. It can be no other way.
We are.
It can be no other way.
It's the core of who.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So we are a part of this divine whole that is in and through and around all things and all beings. And the beauty of that is that as we move into understanding and knowing that, then it begins to come out of us. It begins to come out of us. Oh, Paul Rodriguez is having trouble. It keeps pausing and making me press play again to restart every minute or so. Oh,
it might be your connection.
Yeah, hopefully that can bummed out, but we'll persist. Thank you for persisting, Paul. I love you. Hopefully that'll get resolved for you. But yes, and if it doesn't, you can come back to it later. But yeah, so it's as we begin to understand who we are, then it begins to radiate out from us. And that begins to be a beacon to others to lead and guide and direct them to themselves, to lead and guide and direct them to the wholeness, to the divinity that is within themselves. And what that means for us is that we do our work individually within ourselves, that we, as I have often said, have dealt with our own shadow work. You know, there is a Vedic belief that is that there's divas and there's devas. And a diva is a avatar who is still having some humanistic characteristics about them. A deva is as an avatar who has actually learned to embrace and love and use the demonic within. And I understand that that is a trigger word for some people, so let me word it differently. To use the darkness that we all carry, to use that as a force also to help us walk in the fullness of all that we are. I don't like to use words like power, but the reality is our power comes in a complete and total embracing and acceptance of the totality of who we are as human and spirit beings. You see, we came here as spirit beings to have a human experience, and it is in that humanity that we are able to be more love towards others. So being a beacon means that we have embraced the totality of who we are, and that then allows us, because one of the frustrating things about understanding yourself as a beacon, of course, is that we tend to see everything. We are aware and see all aspects of humanity, and that can be troubling. That can be troubling, but it can be, and we experience it also. Like a lot of us who are very sensitive, we actually feel this stuff. If you are clairvoyant, clairsentient, and some of us are all of those, right? So it's a consistent overstimulation, if you will. But what happens is as we work with ourselves in this way, it allows us to have a greater level of compassion, a much greater level of compassion for others, because as I recently told somebody, I said, well, here's how it works for me. Because I have seen all of who I am, good, bad, ugly, all of it. And I've been able to embrace it and go, okay, yeah, that's part of my experience. That's part of who I am, or how I'm showing up, right? Better yet, how I'm showing up in the world right now. I understand that intrinsically I am divine universal love that sometimes shows up in a way that is not so loving in this 3D world that we live in, right? As I understand and embrace and accept that about myself, it affords me a greater opportunity to do that for other people. That when I see someone and they do something that doesn't look exactly favorable, I can go, oh, well, yeah, I've done that, you know, I'm certainly at least capable of it. Even if I haven't done it, I'm well aware of my capacity to be human. And so being a beacon means that we understand that. You know, that part of our light is that we look at others and we can see the dark sides of them or the shadow sides of them and understand what we're looking at, but also understand that because it is part of the greater whole, it is actually a part of who we are as well. And that
exactly. And sometimes their darkness is to only reflect back to us the darkness that we need to clear out.
Absolutely.
That darkness is what anchors us in to be human. It's needed for our tree, our own personal tree of life to bloom.
It absolutely is.
We all have it too. Somebody can be so incredibly spiritual, but yet there to one's light is what one's darkness is. There's a balance. So nobody is all light. Nobody is all darkness. There is always that balance.
Yes. And this is part of what we understand as we move through the spiritual process, is that is in fact true. That that both are needed. Both are necessary. Both come from the same place. Here's the thing. We would not know daylight if we did not know night, right?
Exactly.
We would not. If we did not have a dark room to light a candle in, we would not understand the significance of that candle.
Right.
So that's part of the way that we begin to learn and understand and move and become this beacon, this light, is that we're not also that when we've done enough of our own work on our own shadow self, then we are able to not be afraid. We are able to not be afraid of the darkness or shadow side of others, right? Because we understand that it's just another aspect of this greater whole that exists. Right. So there's no need to be fearful of it. We understand that as we again move from diva to deva, if you will, and it doesn't matter. It's not a masculine or feminine connotation. It simply is I use it as a reference to say, as we have learned to, as I say, dance with our demons, as we've learned to embrace our demons and befriend them and love them into wholeness, then we have no reason to be afraid of anyone else's. You know, we.
Can I interject here
Yeah.
right now? Is I used to go in what we call cage, what we also call demons. Okay,
Yeah.
so I used to do that, and I don't have to do that anymore. But one thing that I always did was I would witness them. I tell them, go back to love. Love is calling you. Go back to love, because even what we in our human, our human vocabulary consider as
Right.
demons, they're still part of
That's
creation.
right.
It's still an aspect that should be
Right.
called back to love.
Right.
So if we're going to do that if I'm going to do that for demons or the darkness or the negative energy, why wouldn't I do it for myself? It's called even my dark side back to love.
Yes.
To wrap my arms around it, to dance with it, to wrap it around me like a warm blanket and go, it's okay. Let's go back to love now.
Yes, and this is the beauty of it, because as we do that, we become much purer beings. We become more authentic in the way we show up in the world. We become truly what holiness means. Holy has several different meanings, but one of them is pure, to be set aside, to be pure. Well, if we think of water as something that is pure, it is clear. It is something that is transparent. It is something that you can see through. It's not cloudy. It knows what it is, where it's going, and it's not hiding anything from anyone. Now, certainly, this can be a very uncomfortable thing for other people, but it is the way that we are able to draw those who are looking to move into this new age that we're going into. That is how it happens, by the authenticity, by our ability to be pure, and then therefore be able to be loved towards what we see in others, which allows them the opportunity to move into a deeper space of acceptance. See, this is why when I was a licensed ordained minister, one of the reasons that I did not like the collar, because as soon as I put on that collar, I automatically noticed how people separated themselves from me, that they put up a shield in front of me, that they did not want me to see the sides of themselves that they thought would not be holy enough or righteous enough for me, right? And if I'm walking through the world that way, I cannot touch you if you do not trust me enough to let me see you. But here's the thing: if I have dealt with my own self and I have been able to release all judgments and guilt and shame, this is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. I still have issues that I'm releasing, and I will, as long as I'm on this planet. I am certain of it. Have different things that come up that I'm going, oh, I need to heal, or I need to not judge myself. I need to not feel guilt. I just discovered some guilt that I was carrying last night and went, well, there's some guilt that we need to process through, right? So it's a continual process. But as we're working through this process of releasing judgments towards ourselves, releasing our own guilt, our own shame, then it allows us to allow other people to reveal their guilt, their shame, their judgments about themselves and about others. And as we are able to afford that space for them, it's a safe space of comfort and love. It is what this universal divinity is all about. It's about providing us this safe space where infinite divine love exists, where we can exhibit that and radiate that for others. It provides a safe space for them to reveal that side of themselves, that part that needs healing, to let that part come out. And it's often been said that secrets breed sickness. And those secret things that we carry within ourselves can be so damaging to us individually. And as long as we carry these things individually that are damaging, then it contributes to the universal whole of wounds and unhealed things that much of we are seeing come to the surface now. So as many as us as can continue to move into this space of love, and it's a practice. I want to say that as well. It is a practice of walking in this space of universal divine love, because it is not necessarily easy. to do all of the time. But when we come up against a moment that doesn't feel easy or that feels challenging, then as you've already said, that is another opportunity for us to see what is coming up for us that we can clear out additionally. We are entering a time where beautiful miracles are going to take place. And I know from personal experience that those happen in this space of universal divine love, which produces the highest and deepest level of compassion. It is our compassion towards others that will cause us to want to see them be able to be full and whole and true, to have the best possible life that any and all of us can have on a universal level. It comes from that infinite space of compassion and divine love, which begins with us being able to exercise that towards ourselves and then work and go. Say what you're going to say.
No, what I want to say is that nothing is linear.
Right.
Nothing is linear. So when people look at us as us teachers, us wisdom keepers that are on Sacred Uprising, many times you'll see us linear that, oh, okay, they're always spiritual, but there's many different degrees that we go through, that everybody goes through. And what was explained to me is that there is enlightenment. There's enlightenment. And then we go to that we're awakened. These are in certain areas of our life, certain lessons that we're learning. We go to the awakening, and then we're woken.
Yeah.
And then we have to then start all over again and learn it on a deeper level. We start with enlightenment again, and then we go into awakening again, and then we go to woken, and then we have to start all over again. So it depends, so within that, when we go through our enlightenment stage, we're not like all of our crap is coming up again. Then we have to heal. We have to relook at it. We have to refocus. This is a constant, this is seasons of our life. Doesn't necessarily mean every 3 months. It can be every week. It can be every 2 weeks that we have to go in again and heal again. But we have to keep going deeper and deeper levels. So we have to love that about ourselves, right? You and I, we have to go, okay, here it is again. I got to deal with crap again, and then embrace it and still love ourselves. Because when you're a wisdom keeper, when you're somebody that is teaching another, guess what? We have to learn it first. We have to be spiritual scientists, right? We have to do it ourselves, and that means we have to keep activating ourselves. We have to keep relooking at ourselves. We have to keep healing of ourselves. And I got to tell you, it's very tiring and it's hard, but it's worth it. So understand that we're also going through our cycles. You may touch on us or meet with us when we're going through another enlightenment phase and all of our shit is coming up again. Okay, I'm sorry, we're human. But then you might meet us when we're woken and we're like, all this stuff is coming out of our mouths because of this cycle that we just went through. But we have to go through those cycles to be the purest beacon that we can be. And I took a class on Zohar last night. And what I loved is King David said if he had one desire is to sit in the house of the Creator. Because if he can sit in the house of the Creator, everything else is abundant. Everything is abundant.
Yes.
And so that's to become a beacon for the Creator. Everything is for the Creator, the divine, the I am, the Om. Everything.
Yes, and understanding that when we say that, we're talking about the collective. We're not talking about something outside of ourselves, right? We're talking about this collective. It's all for that. I want to pause for a moment. Hi, Tommy. I want to acknowledge you. I see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Hind, thank you so much. Annette, if you're gone, we'll see you soon when you come back. So yes, that's what it is. And the abundance, I want to thank you for saying that, because this is the other piece of our being this beacon, understanding that this abundance that definitely occurs as we move deeper and deeper closer in. And also understanding, there's so much I want to say right now, so I'm getting off track. So let me go with the abundance and I'll come back.
Okay.
So, but understanding the abundance that comes into our life. And what can happen is if we see, everything in our world right now especially right now, is designed to pull us away to pull us away. And the things that can help us can also serve to be distractions to pull us away. So right now, there's a tremendous lot of abundance in my life right now. And you had asked me, because you know me, like, hey, is everything okay? And I was like, there's a lot going on right now. I'm in a position where I want to reevaluate where I'm spending my time and what I'm doing. And the reason for that is because I understand from going through this process that we want to be very aware of being able to have time to be still, of being able to have time to allow that abundance within us, because that's how it happens. As the abundance grows within us, it manifests outside of us. And that's a beautiful thing. As long as we continue to be aware of the abundance that we carry within, and that we honor that, and that we're taking the time to be able to continue to allow ourselves to move through this process. Because when we get in this method of fast, busy, then we're not taking that time, and then we're not able to be present. We're not able to be present. And when we're not able to be present, we're not able to be that beacon for those around us. We're not able to do that. So as we move through this process, again, these are all things that begin to come up as we're moving through. When we go deeper and deeper, we've entered into a different space than we were before. And I like to call it expansiveness versus levels, because there aren't any levels.
I like that.
Levels. But what happens is as more is revealed, there's this expansiveness that occurs. And as we expand, and things outside of us begin to expand, and it is a beautiful experience. But we want to be mindful of how we are feeling in that experience, because our feelings are information to let us know when we need to make an adjustment. So if we're feeling overwhelmed, if we're feeling fear, if we're feeling a resentment, if we're feeling anger, these are messages that our body, that our energetic body are giving us regarding self-care and what we need to return to, going inward to find out what is happening and what the influence is going to be outward. And that too serves as a beacon as people begin to watch that, as we begin to move through what would otherwise seemingly be, like I've had people say to me, I had no idea all that was going on with you. It is because of years and years and years of practicing, of being able to know when to listen and go within, so that whatever's happening within, because it will, whatever's happening within will come without. Whatever's happening within will reveal itself without. So if we want to be a beacon without, then we must first be that beacon within. We must first be making sure that we are being a light unto ourselves, to ourselves, a light unto ourselves, going back to ourselves. And as we, the more and the more and the more that we're able to do that, then the more that it is able to be revealed and expanded out beyond us for the rest of the world to see. That transparency that I talked about, the peace that we're able to carry, accepting and embracing all aspects of ourselves, knowing that there are moments when we are going to behave in a very human fashion, because we are in a human body, but recognizing that that is part of our human experience. And as we recognize that, then it allows us to not label it on other people, whether they're spiritual teachers, leaders, or just Joe Schmo, walking down the street, which, to be honest with you, no matter what title you hold, no matter what form you sit upon, we're all Joe Schmo, okay? Like, we're all we're all the guy on the side of the street holding the sign saying we'll work for food. We are all that guy. We are all Trump, we are. We are all. We are the person. We are the person we admire the most. I posted this recently. We are the person we admire the most, and we are also the person we have the least respect for. We are all of that together. So as we individually can tend to our own beacon, it becomes a beacon for others to help move that process upward. And when I say that process, I mean all of humanity to be able to move upward together. If we are judging, then we are blocking that process. That's why it behooves us to understand that, in fact, we are all one and the same. We are all light and we are all dark. We all carry it all. If we can truly get that on a soul level, then it doesn't stop us from getting frustrated. It doesn't stop us from being agitated, but it does stop us. It does help us to not be so judgmental. Uh,
You're talking about a beacon, a lighthouse, right? So when I just was in California and saw several lighthouses, you have the part of the lighthouse at the bottom part. There's no windows in it. It's a spiral staircase. There's not windows. There's not a lot of light. But you have to go up
Ooh,
the
that's
helix.
beautiful.
You have to go
Yeah.
up the spiral staircase to get to the light. We all have it. There is that balance.
There is that balance, and as we truly understand that, as I said, when it allows us to not be judgmental, and when we release the judgments, the more we can release judgments, the more we can enter into a space of what I call neutrality. And when I mean by neutrality is that I don't feel the need to qualify or differentiate or separate. My thinking is not any better than anybody else's thinking. My path is not better than someone else's path. My method of teaching is not better than another's method of teaching. My way of seeing the world is not any better than anybody else's way of. The more that we can move into that space, the more space that is provided then for other people to be able to move and ascend wherever they are at, because if you've been watching this series on from truth to tradition or tradition to truth, then I've said repeatedly that we move through these spaces differently depending on where we're at in life. It changes. And what was truth to me 10 years ago is not true to me today. What I thought was right 10 years ago is not the same as what I'm thinking today. And so we want to trust and not judge, but just hold space, provide space. That's what holding space means. It doesn't mean that we're carrying stuff. It means that we're opening up and we're providing more opportunity and room and love, space, energy for others to come into. If they can come into that and feel safe and feel like they're not being judged and feel like there's just nothing but pure love there, which is what this universal divine is, then it allows all of the things that need to be removed to take care of themselves. That's why we as energy practitioners don't really do anything. All we're doing is being a opportunity of more expansive space. We're allowing that expansiveness to be present and to funnel around through and as a part of our being, right? As an understandable part of our being. And that's how healing begins to take place. Physically, emotionally, mentally, that's how it occurs, is by allowing. So I can't emphasize that word enough, which for us comes back to remembering, understanding, being our own beacon of who we are, which allows that beacon to then shine forth, if you will, for others to see and allows them to move in. So I want to say this thing: when we're feeling frustrated, when we're feeling fear, when we're feeling anger, when these things rise up within ourselves, because it's going to happen. If you're truly committed to this process, you will see more of your stuff than anyone else's. And as that comes to the fore, move closer to love, spend greater time in that love, however you have to do it. If it's music, I used to have triggers. I would have a song list that I would play that get me into that space of universal love energy. I would have words, mantras that I used to recite, scriptures that I used to come up with, pictures of things that put me into the space of universal, divine, heavenly love. And I would spend time there, because the more time we can spend there, I know this, I'm telling you from my own personal experience. I could tell you my history and some of the things that I've come out of. And my children often say, Mom, you should be crazy. And there was a time where I was, okay? And I'm a little crazy still, because I want to keep a little crazy. But the fact is my healing came from being in that space. It came from spending time with that universal divine love where there was infinite compassion. And I've learned that if I can spend time there and if I can provide that space for others, their healing will occur naturally. It simply occurs naturally. If we want to be a beacon to this planet, we must provide that space for others. And the healing of humanity will occur naturally. The more of us that can do that, the more of us that can do it, the more of us who are committed to it, the more that we can allow others to be committed to it and move through it. And the quicker and sooner we can all get to this place that we know exists, and that is coming. So I want to encourage you to continue on the path of being the beacon, of allowing the beacon to be revealed within you. I want to encourage you to continue on your path of being the beacon to yourself, and foremost to those closest to you, and then what happens beyond you. And as we all do that, we will all get there together. So, yes.
I want to, this is beautiful. This was absolutely beautiful. I want to just say a few things regarding it. With the lighthouse, keep in mind there is that dark portion where you have to go. You have to rise up to be the beacon. But the point of the lighthouse is not to stay within that brick area where there is no light. The purpose of the lighthouse is to shine. Don't forget that. We can't say that, yes, we're light and darkness, and that gives you an excuse to be in the darkness. No, you're a beacon. Your job is to shine. Yeah. That's what your job is. The other thing is today, why don't I challenge yourself today? Hold space for yourself today. Hold space for somebody else today for healing. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself radical grace today and look at your darkness and go, you know what? I see you and I still love you. Call your darkness back to love. Call your darkness back to the light, because it too is part of creation and it too can be what makes you shine. So hold space for somebody, but do it first for yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much. That is so beautiful, Tricia. It was so wonderful having this conversation. Hi, Bliss, Miriam. Hi, Cynthia. We see you. Thank you for joining us. I'm so honored to have you here. Yes, so that's it in a nutshell, right? The beacon is, the purpose is to guide home. That's the purpose. And we guide ourselves home first with that love. And then we allow that beacon to be a guide home for others. Right. Home is right. Safe. It should be a safe space. It should be a loving space. And as you said, Tricia, that starts with ourselves first and then funnels out. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been so awesome to be able to talk about this today. Yes.
I love it. I love the conversation. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to if you missed part of this, to go see what this beautiful conversation was about. Also, take advantage that I also do not live videos, but videos talking about many different modalities, crystals, stones, grounding. And I'm also, we're doing one on activation. It's one that I have to be in person with people to do an activation, but I can explain that as well. But Laurie, before we go, why don't you tell people how they can get in contact with you to work with you?
Yes. Hi, Yolanda. I see you. Thank you for joining us. So yes, I have a page. You can click on my personal page, which of course is linked to this video. And on there, you can reach me that way. You can also reach me through liveinspiredhealingarts.com, which is my website, or Live Inspired Healing Arts on Facebook. A lot of people message me there. I have plenty of videos there that can be of assistance to you in your process of wholeness. This is the work that I do, is that I assist people in revealing the trueness and wholeness of who they are. That's what living inspired is. It means to live in spirit, to understand that that is who we are, and it helps us to heal ourselves and to heal others. So I am a spiritual coach. I also am a Reiki practitioner, and many other things. So speaker, obviously. So if you want to reach me, you can do that. I'll be sure to include those links with this video. I have a YouTube channel as well, but you can find me through Facebook most easily and through my website. So I'm so excited about what's coming up with the conference. And hi, Danita. So I just want to thank you again, Tricia, for this beautiful opportunity. Thank you, everyone who has joined us and who has stayed with us or is just coming aboard. If you've missed any part of this, please go back and watch it if it resonates with you. So thank you for the honor, the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Keep in mind that tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will have Bliss on, and she will be discussing higher purpose. So 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I love you, Laurie. Love you, love you, love you. And yeah, yes, and we will be back tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye-bye.